Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. With the Logan versus Mayweather fight now done and dusted, the attention on the Paul brothers now turns to the fight between Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley, which is expected to take place on August 28, 2021, after the rumors of the fight began to surface on May 31st, 2021. So, the big question is, who's going to come out tops? According to ESPN's expert boxing commentator Max Kellerman, not only have the Paul brothers become a relevant duo in the boxing industry in the foreseeable future, but also this fight between Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley is one that should be taken seriously. Although Kellerman hasn't quite given his opinion on who he believes will win the bout, the fact that he is taking this fight seriously means that this could be one interesting fight.
Oh, now Jake Paul is going to be fighting Tyron Woodley.
Yeah, by the way, that's an interesting fight. It's an interesting event because Jake Paul has to make big events.
From what we gather, the Jake versus Tyron fight is no exhibition match, as was the case with Logan versus Mayweather. Jake will be going into his fourth professional boxing game, albeit against a now retired UFC champion. So yes, the stakes are high. And so, like we always do, in this video, we'll be looking at these two stars, their fighting background, and what they have to offer in this fight. But most importantly, we'd be looking to predict who we believe will win come August 28, 2021. But first, let's consider the backgrounds of our two fighters. Many boxing fans might have only heard about Jake Paul for the first time a couple of years ago, and they might have been taken aback by the social media influence Jake and his brother Logan wield. Well, Jake Paul's popularity began to soar thanks to his YouTube channel, which he launched on May 15, 2014. Before his reputation began to grow on YouTube, Jake had become something of a sensation on the now defunct Vine. As his popularity began to grow on social media, Jake secured a gig with Disney when he was signed on to play the role of Dirk Mann on the Disney Channel series BIZAARDVARK. Unfortunately, he lasted on the series for only 2 seasons before he was unceremoniously fired by Disney after he was charged with criminal trespassing and unlawful assembly. It wasn't much of a surprise though, as Jake is well known for his controversial pranks, risky stunts, and the age-inappropriate material he often posts on his YouTube channel. However, he thrives on the controversial persona that he exudes, and evidently, many fans find him entertaining, which explains why this dude has 20.4 million subscribers on YouTube, with an aggregate of over 7 billion views on his channel. Jake made his first foray into the boxing world in August of 2018 when he fought Deji Olatunji, the brother of KSI, another superstar YouTuber. This fight took place after KSI and Jake's elder brother, Logan Paul, had faced each other in the ring, and the Deji Olatunji fight ended in a victory for Jake after a technical knockout in the 5th round. Buoyed by his victory over Deji, Jake proceeded to make his professional boxing debut against fellow YouTuber Anis and Gibb, or Gibb for short. That also ended in a technical knockout victory for Jake, a knockout which he delivered just 2 minutes into the 1st round. Jake delivered yet another knockout victory when he faced off against professional basketball player Nate Robinson in July 2020. Jake ended the fight via knockout 1 minute 30 seconds into the 2nd round. After Jake decided that fighting non-professional combat sportsmen was too easy for him, he challenged a former Bellator MMA and 1 welterweight champion, Ben Askren, to a fight. And against all odds, Jake once again won the game by technical knockout just 2 minutes into the 1st round. With that, Jake showed the world that he was no pushover and that he was committed to making a statement in boxing. His statement has now taken us here, to a fight between himself and 4-time UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley may be Jake Paul's toughest opponent yet. With a wrestling career that dates back to 2009, Woodley fought at Strikeforce and was a Division I collegiate wrestler for the Missouri Tigers, where he became a two-time All-American and a Big 12 Conference champion. In 2016, Woodley went up against the then UFC welterweight champion Robbie Lawler on July 30th, 2016, in what was the main event at UFC 201. Halfway through the first round, Woodley knocked Lawler out to claim the UFC welterweight championship. That night, Woodley also went home with the Performance of the Night award. Subsequently, Woodley would defend his title 4 more times before losing to KAMARU USMAN by a unanimous decision at UFC 235 in March 2019, putting an end to his 3-year reign as welterweight champion. Since he lost his championship belt, Woodley has not quite been the same fighter. In further fights against Gilbert Burns and Colby Covington, Woodley did not only lose, but was dominated throughout the bouts. His last fight on March 27, 2021 against Vicente Luque at UFC 260 saw Woodley deliver an even less impressive fight, losing to Luque, who executed a Bravo choke on Woodley to win the game. At 39, Woodley is definitely at the end of his career, and that's probably why Jake Paul can sense an opportunity to score a famous win for himself. So while Tyron Woodley may be a big name in combat sports going up against an amateurish YouTuber turned boxer in Jake Paul, this bout is by no means a straightforward one. That said, let's get into the real fight. So based on the backgrounds of these two fighters, we'll be looking to determine who will win the boxing match when they square up in August. To do this, as always, we'll be scoring each fighter on 4 simple categories: fighting pedigree, physique, skill, and improvisation. For each category, each fighter will be scored a maximum of 10 points, and the fighter with the higher cumulative points will be awarded the win, hypothetically speaking anyway. Okay, let's get to it. Fighting pedigree. There's no doubt that this one has to go to Tyron Woodley. He has been a wrestler since 2009. Comparing that to Jake Paul, who only started boxing professionally in 2020, it is an obvious mismatch. That said, the match between these two would be a boxing game. In this regard, Jake would seem to have the advantage as he's always trained as a boxer. Woodley, on the other hand, is a skilled wrestler. But on August 28th, he'll be restricted to fighting with his fists alone, and that would cost him some points here. Still, Woodley takes this round, so it's 8 points to Woodley and 6 to Jake. Physique. Physically speaking, Jake Paul is the heavier of the two, weighing in at 86 kilograms compared to Woodley's 77 kilograms. That's almost a 10-kilogram difference. Jake also has the advantage in the height department, standing at 5 feet 11 inches compared to Woodley's 5 feet 9 inches. And when it comes to reach, once again, Jake has the lead with a reach of 76 inches compared to Woodley's 74. On top of that, Jake is 15 years younger than Woodley. Yup, you heard that right, 15 whole years. This one goes to Jake Paul easily. 8 points to Jake, 6 to Woodley. Skill. Now this is where it becomes a bit tricky. As great as he was as a UFC fighter, Woodley is not a boxer. However, it's not like Jake has been boxing for over a decade anyway. As a professional wrestler, we know that Woodley was an excellent striker, and that's something Jake will have to deal with. One little mistake and he could be in real trouble with this dude. So yes, Woodley is not a natural boxer, but we give him this round. 7 points to Woodley, 6 to Jake. Improvisation. It's hard to see how Jake can stand up to Woodley when it comes to springing surprises in this fight. That's precisely what UFC fighters are trained to do: catch their opponent off guard and punish them instantly. So while Jake might have 3 knockout wins to his name in his 1-year-old professional boxing career, he could be in for some surprises in this bout. Once again, Woodley takes this one, 8 points to Woodley and 5 points to Jake. The verdict? Alright, so what do we have here? We've got Jake with 25 points, but it's not enough to beat Woodley's 29 points. And with that, Tyron Woodley is our winner. Agree or disagree? Let's have your opinion in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.